Sarah Palin has some thoughts on who the next Speaker of the House should be. This is delicious.
Speaker Boehner, I think, it's our poll of the day, should he remain Speaker? 60% of Republicans say no. I'm among them. I wanted to get your reaction. How do you feel about the Speaker, and also with Steve Scalise and this controversy he's involved in?
Well, I think that Speaker Boehner, unfortunately, didn't listen to many of us who all along were saying, you know, when you campaign one way and you govern another way, man, that's a turnoff. And really, it's unethical, and we don't have to put up with that. So those who have gone along just to get along with President Obama, like Speaker Boehner, you know, we need to thank them for their service and say, okay, time for new energy and time for commitment to those campaign promises to be fulfilled. And I love Louie Gohmert. I love those Texan politicians who call it like they see it and are true conservatives. So I'd be rooting for Louie.
Come on, man. Sarah Palin, Louie Gohmert, Michelle Bachmann, Steve King. These guys are like a living SNL skit. It would be the funniest thing ever if it wasn't the case that they affect policy and they actually have a fairly significant following. But they really are a self-parody of the highest order. So yesterday, we showed you the great Louie Gohmert compilation that we had. It was an old-school SecularTalk compilation. Well, today, we have the Palin compilation, courtesy of Talking Points Memo.
He's been in Congress for 26 years, almost always sided with less regulation, not more.
He's also known as the Maverick, though.
I'm just going to ask you one more time, not to belabor the point, specific examples in his 26 years of pushing for more regulation.
I'll try to find you some and I'll bring them to you. John McCain has that streak of independence in him that I think is very, very important in America today in our leadership. I have that within me also, and that's why John McCain tapped me to be a team of Mavericks, of independence, as a team member in this, on this new team promising the reform.
What insight into Russian actions, particularly in the last couple of weeks, does the proximity of the state give you?
They're our next door neighbors, and you can actually see Russia from land here in Alaska.
Well, explain to me why that enhances your foreign policy credentials.
Well, it certainly does. As Putin rears his head and comes into the airspace of the United States of America, where do they go? It's Alaska.
Do you agree with the Bush doctrine?
In what respect, Charlie?
The Bush. Well, what do you interpret it to be?
His worldview, but wanting it to be in the light of day, not behind closed doors with lobbyists making deals with Congress.
When you were a mayor of Wasilla, you hired a very prominent lobbyist to get Wasilla money.
We did. We paid $30,000 for a lobbyist who was in D.C. because we're thousands and thousands of miles away from D.C.
What newspapers and magazines did you regularly read before you were tapped for this to stay informed and to understand the world?
I've read most of them, again, with a great appreciation for the press, for the media.
But like what one specifically, I'm curious that you...
all of them, any of them that have been in front of me over all these years. I have a vast variety of sources where we get our news to. Alaska isn't a foreign country where it's kind of suggested. It seems like, wow, how could you keep in touch with what the rest of Washington, D.C. may be thinking and doing when you live up there in Alaska?
Yeah, I think that speaks for itself.